Glenn Beck is not touching any of this shit. He's talking about fucking AI takeovers and how like ex-MTV VJs now have found Christ. Like, he's avoiding this story like the fucking plague. But the people below him can't. This is, what's her name? Dipshit McGee. Yeah, it's Matthew Marsden and Steve Baker and Sara Gonzalez. Yeah, Unfiltered. This is her show, and this is that table they sit around and like impress everybody by how fucking dumb they are.
So speaking of AG Pam Bondi and the whole Epstein debacle,
sorry, I feel like this is going to require something. Hold on. Okay, go ahead.
Which just could not have been handled more poorly, in my personal humble opinion. You have a couple new developments. Number one, the court that President Trump directed Pam Bondi to go to ask them to release all of the testimony. The court now has questions on, you need to be more specific. Whose testimony do you want? And, do we have victim impact statements on whether or not, have we considered those? Do we have them? So the court is pushing back now on whether or not they want to release that. But now, Pam Bondi, despite that setback, posted on X this was a statement from her Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche.
The guy who met in private with Ghislaine Maxwell, who's also Trump's private attorney and never stopped being his private attorney. And seen.
The joint statement by the DOJ and FBI of July 6 remains as accurate today as when it was written. Namely, that in the recent thorough review of the files maintained by the FBI in the Epstein case, no evidence was uncovered that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties.
This is I can just feel the weight of that statement. Like, they're double dunking on this. They're coming in and going, hey, remember that memo we put out that set all your heads on fire a little bit ago? We're just going to double down on that and tell you to go fuck yourself again. So, yeah.
President Trump has told us to release all credible evidence.
Credible. Who, if I may, gets to determine what qualifies as credible?
If Ghislaine Maxwell has information about anyone who has committed crimes against victims, the FBI and the DOJ will hear what she has to say.
Right. So why aren't you interviewing everybody else who worked as staffer? Even Keller, Kellen, who you could say is a victim. You could argue she was a victim, but she definitely worked with him, and she must be interviewed. Why haven't you interviewed her? Why not? Bring her in. I would argue Democrats, it might be a good idea to interview someone who was a victim who eventually went to, we want to offer her immunity to talk. How about that? Boy, I bet she'd jump at that shit with her $11 million worth of penthouses.
Therefore, at the direction of Attorney General Bondi, I have communicated with counsel for Ms. Maxwell to determine whether she would be willing to speak with prosecutors from the department. I anticipate meeting with Ms. Maxwell in the coming days, and Ghislaine Maxwell's attorney has confirmed in a response that they are in discussions with the government and that Ghislaine will, they say, always testify truthfully. I mean, if you can't trust a sex trafficker, who can you trust, right?
Ouch. She's supposed to help your dude bail himself out, dummy.
We're grateful to President Trump for his commitment to uncovering the truth in this case. On top of that, the House Oversight Committee this was actually led by Tim Burchett. They voted to subpoena Ghislaine Maxwell over the Epstein files.
Oh, no. It was not led by Tim Burchett. It was led by Democrats, and enough Republicans came over, including Burchett, I think, to make this happen, where Comer couldn't not do it. They had to actually subpoena her because the committee all voted, and enough Republicans crossed over to join all the Democrats to do this.
As well. So things are, I would say, heating up in this, despite the completely botched
No. Hey, no. I will not let you besmirch them by saying they botched this. They didn't botch this, dumb fuck. They have no intention of releasing this shit. None. They're not going to let you see this. They're not going to let the botched part was, I guess, ever letting you think you were going to see it. This part's working just fine. You guys are mad, but again, whatever's in the evidence is worse than the fallout of not releasing it. And as soon as you assholes come to that realization, it will all suddenly make sense.
Handling of this from the get-go, we may actually find some truth here.
This was
truth. Oh, truth. I gotta tell you, come on.
so botched.
So botched. Ultra botched. No, it wasn't, dummy. The part that was botched was that MAGA didn't fall in line like they were supposed to.
On that Sunday, and it was, of course, released on purpose.
Right, yeah, it wasn't an accidental memoing. There wasn't a drive-by memo. Like, where the fuck is that draft of that memo I never intended to release? What do you mean it's on the internet?
Immediately following the Texas flooding disaster here, thinking that would obscure and distract from this release.
Right, yeah, again, that doesn't sound like botched. That sounds like buried. Dumbass.
The timing on a Sunday, I mean, this is just not when you do it unless it's on purpose for that reason.
Well, how close are we to an actual realization here?
Right.
To hide it. Well, obviously they miscalculated. It was a much bigger blunder than, or it became a blunder. It was.
No, it didn't. No, it didn't. It wasn't a blunder. They gave you the fucking finger, and you're like, he was trying to give me the thumbs up, and the wrong finger came out. It must have been some sort of involuntary muscle twitch. He didn't mean to do this. He was trying to do this, and then he had a cramp, and he told me to go fuck myself when a blunder. God damn. Think about how much you'd have to bullshit yourself to keep saying this was an accident.
Much more of an issue that the MAGA base cared about than they anticipated.
Mm-hmm.
Adorable.
Weren't able to distract or hide it, and so it blew up. And I went after it. I mean, I mean, for the next 24. Hours, I was relentless, and I was going after them all.
Yeah.
Elizabeth says, Hal, do you think Maxwell is running the trafficking syndicate from jail? No, I do not. There are plenty of other people who will step into that role. No. The Epstein part of it is gone, but somebody else is filling that gap. Whether it's somebody related to Les Wexner or not is the question.
Cash, Bongino, the whole crowd.
Yep.
It was a joint sign-off between the FBI and DOJ, despite
no, they didn't sign it.
what the FBI has put out since then and said, oh, no, that was DOJ, that wasn't us. FBI is DOJ. Don't
Right.
listen to that crap.
Right.
And then on
Yeah, it's starting to sound less like a blunder and more like they were trying to flim-flam you and got caught.
Monday night, or technically Tuesday morning at 1:38 a.m., I got a call from the 7th floor of a particular building where a former FBI director used to prance around in women's clothing. And so they say.
J. Edgar Hoover, which is true. And probably the most endearing thing about him. The rest of what he did was awful. That part didn't bother anybody, per se. But the fact that this motherfucker's getting calls from the 7th floor of the FBI and we're supposed to trust him as a source. What'd they do? I can't wait to hear what the FBI called him and told him to say on the Blaze, I guess.
And so I get a phone call in the middle of the night telling me to back off.
Whoa. Whoa. So Patel's office calls this motherfucker, whoever he is, and tells him to, quote, back off.
Shut up.
No, not kidding. And I was,
Wait, did you answer?
See, that doesn't sound like a blunder. Is that, are they, dude, are you fucking this up?
yeah.
Don't say people. I'm doing business here, man.
We spoke for an hour and a half.
Are you awake?
I was just falling asleep.
Really?
And I got a message, and we proceeded to talk until 3 a.m.
Who's we, motherfucker?
And basically, and I've really struggled about going public with this.
Why? Oh, right, because this is the most transparent White House in history. Sure, yeah. I can understand why you would struggle with going public.
But I'm angry enough 2 weeks later that someone in government called a member of the...
Oh, no, not someone in government. A, who, motherfucker? B, maggot. A maggot installed by Donald Trump called you and told you to back off and shut the fuck up. Not someone in government. It wasn't a member of the goddamn deep state. And if it was, why do they have you on speed dial, motherfucker?
Press and threatened me saying, if you don't back off, you're never going to get anything else from us. And I went, after I thought about it for 24, 48, 72 hours, I went, screw that.
Screw you, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no, this is not the way it works.
What would make us
Apparently, they think it's the way it works.
any different than what we criticized with the Biden administration and the
Because nobody in the Biden administration called people up, journalists, and said, back off. They didn't. They might have tap danced around stuff like any White House will ever do, but they sure as fuck didn't call and threaten people.
the left-wing media carrying the water of Joe Biden? I mean, what would make us
Well, no. Unless you've got a situation where the White House was calling up members of the, quote, left-wing media and saying, if you don't shut the fuck up about about Joe Biden's being old, we're not going to give you any more inside scoops. If you've got a situation like that, fucking level it out, dummy.
any different if it's like, oh, I'm sorry, we can only cover stories that don't, you only like, right? You approve.
Right.
And anything that you don't approve.
Wait, no. You don't get to lay this off on the last administration. You don't get to lay this off on anybody because, first of all, you have no evidence that anything like that happened at all. None. Nothing. And you certainly don't get to use the fact that you've got this suspicion or paranoia, that you plug every fucking gap with to cover for the fact that the guy next to you was just told that somebody from the FBI on the 7th floor, meaning Patel's office, called and told him to shut the fuck up.
Approve of. If we have any criticisms, we're not allowed to cover that all of a sudden. I mean, that would make us no different than the opposing party that.
Hey, fuckhead, this is worse. What are you talking about? This isn't like, hey, watch it, go easy on Joe. That ain't what this is. This guy was talking about a child billionaire pedophile sex trafficking ring and the connection to Jeffrey Epstein, and the FBI called him and told him to knock it off. Good God, woman.
We so hastily criticize, and rightfully so. Yeah. But we have to do different.
You're not. You're not. You're not doing different. As a matter of fact, you're doing the same thing Trump is doing. You're using some fabricated bullshit apocryphal idea of how the Biden White House ran, which it didn't, to cover for the fact of the way that from a direct contact, your friend who is sitting at the table that is telling you how the Trump White House is running.
This administration should know better.
They should, and...
Why? Trump likes Kim Jong-un, you fucking moron.
And I'm sure that, well, I won't comment on that. Let's just put...
You were about to say, I'm sure they do. Shut the fuck up.
Here's the funny thing. They had your phone number, but they didn't know your character.
Right.
They think the FBI...
Well, it did take them 72 hours.
I didn't, I'm the guy that, the only one of some 1,600 J6 defendants that in his pretrial restrictions, I'm the only one, and I wear this with a badge of honor, was told by the court and by the government that I could no longer drunk text my FBI agent.
I love that so much.
And even then, you're the FBI. Don't you want the guys you're investigating to be drunk texting you?
Right.
Yeah, get all the
no
evidence you
kidding.
can.
I mean, that's how stupid they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait a minute, but you've still got your connections in there? So sorry. So the guy you were talking to on Jan 6th that you were drunk texting is pro-Trump enough to call you up and tell you to shut the fuck up? And he still works there? Talk about the deep state. Jesus Christ.
Not as smart as we think they are. They're the preeminent law enforcement agency in the world, and that is just stupid. And we haven't had the chance to be on here and just talk about the rogue agent story we did a few weeks ago. I was down in Florida tracking this, and they're not smart. And then after
Which
we
is
outed
really
that,
concerning, actually.
It is.
It's very...
Well, by the way, no, it isn't. The fact that you're saying that the proof that they're not smart is that they have contact with you is one thing. But it sounds like you're using like a giant organization and anecdotal stories about individuals within that giant organization to cover for the fact that the top floor of the organization, the heads of that organization, called you and asked you to stop talking about Jeffrey Epstein.
doing
At the
it
end of the day,
again.
they're still government employees.
Right. Well, that's just it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so are our soldiers, asshole. All our members of our military who you pretend to give a shit about are all government employees, fuckhead. Trained by the government. Trained themselves by other government employees.
Here's what I think, though. Again,
Wait, when did this start?
let's do a little bit of reading between the lines, right? Oh, you're looking at me like, what are you going to say?
I mean, I never know with you guys.
I think that
Jesus Christ. I think that as long as I don't bring up the fact that Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump were friends for 25 years, we can polish this turd to a high shine.
I mean, obviously, if you're looking at chain of title of what's happened with these files, have been all over the place. I mean, Southern
Chain of title.
District of
Maybe that's an Australian thing.
New York, it's been a bit of a disaster.
The chain of command.
No. Not chain of command.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No.
Where all
No.
the files are.
where it's all where
whether they still exist.
who dealt with them,
Yep.
whether or not someone tampered with them.
Uh-huh.
Right, the fact that they were all collected during Donald Trump's first term, and Epstein died during Trump's first term, and was never made it to trial during Trump's first term, and Ghislaine Maxwell was arrested, but in the process of being dealt with, or given a deal possibly during Trump's first term, and then she got tried and convicted during Biden's term.
We don't know, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
But if they're talking about going to Ghislaine Maxwell,
Yeah, they're talking about chain of evidence or chain of custody, of the evidence.
well, firstly, I'd say check your camera, Ghislaine, right? Make sure that there's not a minute gap, right? Because I'd be like
A lot can happen in a minute.
getting ready in that minute at
3 minutes.
midnight.
By the way, just letting you know, like, anybody who accepts that 10-hour video is from the actual night is full of shit, and not a minute, 3 minutes missing.
But what this could do is it could open up, because you've normally you want to get rid of any kind of way of them getting evidence, right? And they did it with Epstein, but they didn't do it. Allegedly, did it with Epstein, should I say? I mean, but with her, she's alive. She's motivated to spill the beans, right? Because I'm sure they'll probably give her a carrot, right? To get out earlier.
Well, she wasn't offered a plea deal originally.
Right. Well,
She has every reason to be
Originally.
like, hey, you work with me, I'll work with you.
well, and
Why
also
not?
she's going to say, well, there are no victims and there are no, perpetrators. Like, hang on a minute.
Right.
Because if you don't have a perpetrator, how can you have a victim? I don't understand.
Huh. Yeah.
But anyway, she's got every reason to sit down and spill the beans on all these people that just...
Yeah, but I would... I have 2 words as to why she might not. Washington Madam.
threw her under the bus, and she's looking at dying in prison. So you want to get out,
Why
right?
not?
If she
Yeah.
can get out in 5 years and be protected, because that's what she's going to have to be protected, clearly. It'll be interesting to see where this goes, because maybe, look, I don't understand how they can't have all the information, but if they don't have the information, this is clearly a way that they can get the names that they need to get for a prosecution.
No, according to the FBI, they don't even have a way of. And by the way, this is what I was talking about. By the way, 2008, Florida police are. By the way, while during the same presidency, and in the same state that Jeffrey Epstein was giving his sweetheart deal, the DC Madam. Florida police are investigating the apparent suicide of the so-called DC Madam, who was found dead in a Florida mobile home of the Madam's mother Thursday. The Madam, Deborah Jean, was recently convicted on federal charges stemming from operating a prostitution service in Washington, D.C. area with a number of high-profile clients. She was scheduled to be sentenced on July 24th, which is when she would probably have offered, information for a shorter sentence. That would be why she wouldn't come forward.
I don't understand how you can convict someone when you don't have a perpetrator to a crime. Yeah,
well, they're
I don't
obviously were customers in this process. When
Obviously not. And according to the FBI, they told you to fuck off for bringing it up. Also, you almost got yourself killed on January 6th to support this motherfucker.
Epstein was arrested the first time down in Florida, 2006. You've probably seen it. It's publicly
During the Bush administration and when Jeb Bush was governor of Florida.
available. The FBI statement to Epstein and his attorneys on FBI, letterhead on one of their forms says as long as he, keeps with the plea deal that they struck for him in Florida, we're not going to pursue any more, charges or problems for Jeffrey Epstein.
He's cooperating with us.
But what did the charge say on that document? What was he charged with? Child prostitution. He was selling children then.
No. That's what he was originally going to be charged with. The deal he made was that he solicited and procured a child for prostitution, meaning he was the client. That was the point, dumb fuck. Can any of these motherfuckers read?
That means there has to be customers.
No, it doesn't. It means he was the customer. The original charges was that he was involved and there were people with other customers. And they allowed him, through Alex Acosta, to plead down to, I'm the only customer. That's what he did. Jesus.
Exactly.
No, not exactly, you dumb motherfucker. How do you not know this?
We're probably never going to see that list. And it's probably not even really a list. It's a lot of
There's an FBI list. It's not his list. And there's a black book that's beyond the one that we've seen. So shut the fuck up.
cases.
And there's ledgers. There's financial books. That's what you want to see. If you want to talk about his client list, that would be his payment schedule. Money that came in, money that went out.
A lot of case files.
God damn, these people are dumb.
Right.
There may be somebody who's compiled it in some form or the other, but that treasure trove of information, I don't think the DOJ has it.
Well, that's what.
Yeah.
That's what I'm kind of hinting at, is that they.
Oh, yeah. Are you now? Oh, yeah. Are you hinting at the fact that the raids on his properties happened when Donald Trump was president the last time and just happened to be a dude who partied with the motherfucker for 25 fucking years? And then that's when the stuff of fucking evaporated. And if you want a reason why, if it was in the files, if Trump's in the files, why wouldn't they prosecute him? Why wouldn't the Bidens went after him? Because it was all gathered under Trump, and that's when it went fucking missing.
They don't.
But who does? Because it exists.
Somebody's got to have it.
Someone has it somewhere.
Yeah.
It's just too valuable.
It's one of the intelligence agencies. Period.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look, that's who controls the database. That's who controls the videos. That's who controls the tons of gigabytes of.
Oh, I see. So that's why the intelligence community wanted Donald Trump to be president and not Biden or Harris anymore. So they helped him get elected because they could control him. They had him on a leash. That explains so much. And you motherfuckers voted for him to help this happen. You aided and abetted rogue members of the CIA and the deep state to control American policy.
Information about this particular case. And I don't think FBI, I don't think Pam Bondi actually have that.
Which, which would make a lot of sense, I think.
It would, but it's that, be that as it may, it's...
Jesus Christ. This is when you need one of those body language experts who this is the gesture and the eye direction of someone who is checks notes bullshitting. Maybe it's what am I trying to, how do I say this without bringing up Donald Trump's lifelong friendship with Jeffrey Epstein that predates and postdates every piece of evidence about him being a sexual predator. How
still really bothers me that she, again, had her office build these binders, put a header.
Ooh, no. Oh, no, shithead. Oh, no. You don't get to, just because you don't play the woman card and get to trounce the other woman. That's not how this works out. Those binders were handed out in the Oval Office. I don't give a fuck who put them together. They were handed out in the Oval. That means that was under the direction of Donald John Trump. Put it to bed, release all the old bullshit, cover my ass, and move on. And then tell everybody there's nothing else to see here.
On the cover, a piece of paper that says, Epstein files for your eyes only. Here you go. Push them out in front of the cameras to go get pictures taken of them.
Push them out of where? Out of the DOJ offices? Out of the FBI offices? Push them out of where? You're never going to make that connection? Please someone send this clip to Glenn Beck. Or the Liz Wheeler one, for that matter. Fuck that dude. This is his organization. These are his shows. He owns these shows.
Knowing that you didn't have anything, that there was no there that you were giving.
Why would you do
like,
that?
It just doesn't sit right
can we
with
just...
Gee, what? Can we just say Trump? No, you can't, apparently.
game that out a little bit?
me. Real quick.
Yeah. Please, real quick. Yeah, we don't have a lot of time because you might actually arrive at the only logical conclusion.
Why? Why would you do that?
I can't come up with just like an innocent reason for it.
Because there isn't one. Yes, you're right. There it is. What did I tell you? They're so fucking close to it, but they can't. There's not an innocent reason. Yes, there's a guilty reason. Donald Trump's fucking guilty, dummy. That's it. You've hit it. That's it. Just say it. You're this close. Just fucking say it.
It makes zero sense. There's no
It makes 100. It makes total sense, dummy.
upside to it at all.
No, there's no upside to that, but there's also no upside to Kash Patel sitting a year and a half ago on the other side of this wall right here in Glenn's office and telling him it's a little black book. And the director of the FBI has
it.
I guarantee it.
Yeah.
And then just a few months later, what book?
Yeah. And
Could it possibly be that you've seen the book, you've seen parts of it, but it isn't the book? It's the evidence. It's the boxes and the video and the audio and the pictures.
now nothing to say. And now Kash Patel and Dan Bongino look like they're being held hostage at gunpoint in their Fox News interview. Like, you're killing them. I don't know what to do.
Gee, it almost sounds like there is a billionaire group of fucking pedophiles that threaten people's lives and threaten to throw them out a fucking window or kill their families if they tell the truth about this. And these guys are victims of it again. And Donald Trump is either a victim himself, if you want to be totally generous to this fucker, but is actively participating in the cover-up to protect his own ass, or is a willing participant.
Yeah. He told himself, that's that. It's just, none of it makes sense at all.
I told you guys it was going away. Like it's got the Epstein thing has no legs whatsoever. It's going to fade by July 4th. Oh shit. $100, the files Trump hid in Mar-a-Lago contain Epstein files. Oh, I completely agree. I completely agree. Did Timu Phil Donahue what? That's awesome. Did Timu Phil Donahue there fall out of televangelist school? Yes. Yes, effectively he did. All right, how am I doing on time? God damn, everything goes by so fast. Now, okay, so this is, by the way, this is the Bongholio post that everybody was flipping out about. This is his whole, like, during my tenure here, fucking 4 months, you dick. Here is the deputy director of the FBI. I have repeatedly relayed to you that things are happening that might not be immediately visible, but they are happening. Okay, let's just start with, if you put out the memo like you put out on that Sunday when the Texas floods had happened, saying that Epstein is closed and like the whole thing's over, forget about it, move on. That's not that. You can't claim, well, shit's still working. There's still gears grinding behind here. No. The director and I are committed to stamping out public corruption and the political weaponization of both law enforcement and intelligence operations. It is a priority for us. What they mean is they will continue to run interference for Donald Trump, who is actively was an active participant or a passive willing partner in Epstein's crimes. But what I've learned in the course of our properly predicated and necessary investigation into these aforementioned matters has shocked me down to my core. So you have seen the Polaroids of Donald Trump getting a lap dance from underage girls that apparently Michael Wolff says he saw. We cannot run a republic like this. I'll never be the same after learning what I've learned. Okay, think about what that means. Considering all the fucking Bongholio clips that we watched and how much this guy was comfortable shitting on the government, thinking the Democrats and the deep state, do you think he would be shocked like this by anything that he saw the Democrats doing, considering what he accused them of? Why would he be shocked? I'll tell you why. Because it's Republicans. Because they're participating in it. As a matter of fact, they're the progenitors of all of it. That's what's shocking. It's the only thing that could be shocking. I'll never be the same after learning what I've learned. Do you think if he walked in there and went, hey, remember all that shit I told you about Democrats? Pfft, totally true. Do you think he'd be wrecked by that? Do you think he'd be emotionally damaged by that and staring off into the middle distance and shaking during interviews on Fox News if that was what he learned? No. Yeah, exactly. What he learned is it ain't Bill Gates and Bill Clinton and whoever else that were the major people as part of this organization. It was fucking Trump and other people that he liked or who bought into fucking Rumble with him, or the people who like shuffled Russian money through tenant media, and the fact that if he belonged to intelligence, it was because they thought they would use him as a double agent against not Israel, and they're pushing back because we have not spied on Israel since fucking since the Ford administration. It's because he was in Russia. That's why. Active shooter loose now in New York City. There was another one this morning too in Reno. He goes. We are going to conduct these righteous and proper investigations by the book and in accordance with the law. So this is him allowing himself some room to drag this shit out. We're going to get the answers we all deserve. Well, who says you deserve the answers? Again, this is like, all the, they determine what constitutes real evidence. As with any investigation, I cannot predict where it will land, but I can promise you an honest and dignified effort at truth. Not my truth or your truth, but the truth. God bless America and all those who defend her respectfully, Dan. Hey, Grok, is Trump corrupt? Based on extensive evidence from 2025 sources, including DOJ changes, weakening anti-corruption units, family profiting from crypto and foreign deals, and executive orders halting the Federal Consumer Protection Agency enforcement. Yes, Trump has engaged in corrupt practices like self-dealing and abusing power for personal gain. These are substantiated by Reuters, New York Times, and Brookings reports, despite his denials. Wow. When you've lost Grok on shitter... Yeah, what does Grok say? Yes, Trump is corrupt. The Jesus. Thanks. We got 1.1 thousand likes. That's awesome. Hit the like, everybody. And if you hate the show and you're mad at me for bringing this shit up, please give a thumbs down. And if you're on Facebook or Instagram, give me a frowny emoji. Apparently, that's the only thing that helps on there. Also, feel free to share clips of the shows, both the big ones that we have of the sections and then little bits if you feel like it. I think they're all available to do that. It would help us out immensely. You guys are awesome.